Hey there guys, what's going on? In today's best class setups in Modern Warfare video, I've got a bit of a spicy one for you guys. I've been keeping a little bit of an eye on the COD League recently, and the class setups are pretty great from there. I'll admit, sometimes the pro class setups don't really translate that well into public lobbies because they do play a lot of search and destroy, which does play very, very slowly. But this M4 class is an actual monster. The M4 is still one of the best weapons in the game, and with this class you've got one of the most powerful and well-rounded guns in this game. I'm still not 100% sure which is better out of the M4 and the Grau 556, but it is pretty close. So if you are looking for a decent Grau 556 class, go check out this video in the top right. But this class setup will really allow you to melt through enemies at pretty much all ranges, close, medium, and long, with basically sort of very little recoil. This is one of my favorite guns in the game at the moment. Obviously it's super powerful, and I've got the best class setup for the M4 for you guys, according to what the pros are using. Like, we've really maxed this thing out. Also, do keep in mind that certain attachments are banned in the COD League, like you can't use suppressors there. But just before we do get into our class setup here, let's try and get this video to 7 likes. The support from you guys has been absolutely fantastic recently. I've got loads of videos lined up, and I'm looking forward to you seeing them all. It's pretty wild that we are still on our way to 500 subscribers. That is just, it's really, really good. So crazy to me. So make sure you hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on if you haven't already, so you don't miss any more of these videos. I know you guys do love the class setups, and I've got plenty more of them coming in the future, so do stay tuned. Let's talk about this overpowered Pro M4A1 Class Setup. Right, so everybody knows about the M4, and everyone knows how good it is, that it's arguably the best gun in the game, but not a lot of people that I see are using the actual best class setup for it. I just see people running around with these junk M4 classes, limiting what they can actually do with their gun. Even through all the nerfs, this thing is still probably one of the top guns in the game, and it's just nuts. Like, it's been nerfed about 3 or 4 times, and it's still at the top. There are always improvements to be made to your classes that you do make, so trust me, this is what is the right thing to do. This class that I'm about to talk about stomps, man. It's just so strong. This will be able to compete with pretty much every other gun in the game, apart from like a 725 at like basically point blank range. It's just that powerful. Again, for my playstyle, I do prefer the Grau 556, but man, this thing absolutely is insane. If you are looking for more ideas for class setups, do check out the COD League as well. The pros make sick classes that you can take ideas from, and you just stomp pub lobbies with them. It's a fantastic resource to help you get better at the game. We're going to have more class setups coming in the future, but for now, let's talk about this overpowered M4 class. So we're going to start out with our sidearm perks and grenade choices here. I'm going to go over it quite quickly because they are pretty much the same on most of my classes. My sidearm, of course, is the 357 Snake Shot Revolver. We've set this absolute beast of a pocket shotgun up like this. We've of course got the long barrel, the 5mm laser, the lightweight trigger, the snake shot, and the stippled grip tape. We've actually dropped off the akimbo perk because it's a little bit unreliable sometimes. It's still pretty good having 2 of these things, but I feel like for consistency's sake, we've just gone with the 1. In the perk 1 slot, we do have 3 options depending on what you come up against. EOD, because dying to explosives is really, really annoying in this game. You just hate to see a dude just constantly just chuck a C4 in just before he walks into a room. You hate to see it. Kill chain's also a really good option here. Just getting those powerful streaks into other powerful streaks is really, really strong. As well as quick fix also being a great option here. Typically I do run quick fix by default, as it just sort of helps you get that health regeneration started as quickly as possible, but sort of depending on what's going on in the game, you can choose between any of these 3. Perk 2, we do have restock. Getting another lethal and tactical grenade every 25 seconds is super powerful in this game. Like, just getting another Betty or another Claymore or another Semtex or whatever, especially getting another stim shot's always really, really powerful in this game. And perk 3, you can choose between shrapnel or battle hardened. Again, depending on what you come up against. Shrapnel gives you an extra lethal grenade, which is great for covering areas with Claymores or Bettys. And battle hardened is really good because flashes and stuns in this game suck. Plus, on certain maps like Crash, like, they're really easy to hide and they're super hard to see. So that makes shrapnel even stronger when you can cover multiple areas with a couple of different Bettys. Of course, our lethal is the proximity mine, but pretty much everything in this slot is really, really strong in its own way. And tactical is the stim shot again, because having multiple lives in each life is really, really powerful. Like, you get into a fight and then suddenly you're just able to take on more dudes. It's really, really powerful. Plus you get a new one every 25 seconds, which is just awesome. Right, so let's get started with our attachments here. In the first slot that we do have, this is the muzzle. In this slot, we've got the compensator. With this, I feel like we get a decent amount of recoil control. The M4 typically does have a little bit of recoil, but that can make it harder to fight at those sort of fairly far out ranges. With the compensator attached, we can be really effective at pretty much every single range that we would fight at. I feel like this and the monolithic suppressor are really, really powerful. Like, 2 of the best options for sure. These are the only 2 ones that you really typically want to pick. The rest of them aren't too good. Like, it's usually pretty hard to go past recoil control or extended range. We do of course lose a little bit of aim down sight speed with both of these, and aim walking steadiness and aiming stability respectively. But we can make up what we lose here with other attachments, so that's not too big of a deal. For the most part, you're going to be getting like 3 to 5 shot kills, so I feel like we can skip over the extended range for the monolithic suppressor. The compensator is a very, very powerful option. It's definitely one of the best attachments for sure. We've got the perfect combination of attachments with this class, and you're going to see the rest of them soon. We've got recoil control, improved range, faster mobility and handling speeds, and that's one of the reasons why the M4 is very, very powerful in this game. You can just be so consistent and so well-rounded with it. So of course, in the muzzle slot, we've got the compensator, and it's the first attachment for our overpowered class. Moving on to our second slot here, and it's not super interesting one for the M4. In the barrel slot, we've got the Corvus Custom Marksman. This gives us a healthy amount of damage range, bullet velocity, and recoil control. Again, we do lose a little bit of aim down, sight speed, and movement speed, but we can get it back with our other attachments again, so that's no sweat. Like I said, this slot is not super interesting for the M4. There are 5 options here, and 2 of them are very, very good, and the rest are kinda lame. Like, for the most part, these 2 are excellent, and the others aren't so crash hot. Don't get me wrong, it's great having like multiple different barrel options, but just think if the MP5 had something like a Corvus Custom Marksman, like these stats would just be unbelievably overpowered, and that'd be wild. The Corvus Custom Marksman stats pointed towards it being slightly more mobile, whereas the Grenadier is more effective at range. The difference isn't huge, and it won't cost you too many kills either way, so you're more than welcome to choose what you do prefer here. We've been spoiled by 2 fantastic barrel options, but I've gone with the Corvus Custom Marksman here, and that is the second attachment for our overpowered class. Next, we've got a pretty underrated attachment in this game. In the underbarrel slot, we have got the Commando foregrip. With this, we got recoil stabilization and aiming stability, and that does make the M4 very, very reliable. We do lose a little bit of movement speed, but again, not too big of a deal. This is one of those attachments that the pros are making use of, and it's somewhat underrated by the rest of the community. Like, you don't see this too often. Like, the pros are running this on their M4s and their Graus, and you should definitely do that too. You get very little horizontal recoil with this, and it makes the weapon super accurate at those medium to long range fights. As I mentioned already, the M4 does have a bit of horizontal and kind of a little bit of vertical recoil as well. So having the Commando foregrip attached really does help us keep on target, sending those bullets pretty much exactly where we want them to go. Another option here is, of course, the PERK foregrip for the recoil control and hipfire accuracy, but I feel like the M4 has an issue with more horizontal recoil rather than vertical, so the Commando foregrip is the better option here. It's not the most useful, but it is definitely a usable one, that being the PERK foregrip. So in the foregrip slot, we have of course got the Commando foregrip, and this is the third attachment for our overpowered class. Next, we're taking a look at the stock slot, and rather than putting an attachment on here, we're taking one off. In this slot, I of course mean by that we've got the no stock option. With this, we do get a healthy amount of movement speed and aim down sight speed. This is a major mobility attachment that we're taking here, and it's pretty powerful. This does allow us to be very, very aggressive and get in people's faces if we choose to. This is another attachment that works really well in combination with the control attachments that we've taken in the muzzle and barrel slots, because this, you do lose a little bit of recoil control. With this, we find a very good balance between mobility and control, and it's really hard to go past this in my opinion. Another option is the Forged Tac CQS stock for just the aim down sight speed, but I feel like more as an aggressive player, this is the far better option. I get more benefit out of the no stock with the extra movement speed than you do over the close quarters option. This really helps me out on those longer streaks getting from spot to spot. So you say you're in top Grasna on Grasna Raid, you want to move to the blue building, that'll help you get there faster as an example. This no stock option is a really, really powerful option in this game. It's one of my favorite attachments this year, and it definitely deserves a spot in the Modern Warfare Attachment Hall of Fame, along with the Stipple Grip Tape and Monolithic Suppressor. So in the stock slot, we've gone with the no stock, and this is the fourth attachment for our overpowered class. Right, so the last slot here, and I'm going to let you pick this one because it kind of depends on how you are looking to play. One attachment's for longer streaks, and the other attachment really boosts our handling speed, and you can probably guess what they are. So if you are looking to be really aggressive, you're not super fussed about going on 20 plus kill streaks, you're just in it to have a good time, not a super long time. In the rear grip slot, you do want, of course, then the stippled grip tape. Aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed are probably the best stats that you can get in this game, and they really allow you to be more aggressive. It does feel very, very powerful in this game being able to pull up with the M4 on basically any enemy dumb enough to walk into your sights. You just get such a snappy ADS time with this and the no stock. It just feels so, so good. It's always hard to go past the stipple grip tape, of course. Like I said, this is a Hall of Fame attachment, man. Like, one of the best for sure. But let me tell you about the attachment for going on those longer streaks for a second. If you're like me and you're trying to work on those nuke streaks, or you just hate dying a lot, you'll basically want the 50 round mags. You could carry the 60 for the most rounds that you can carry, but trust me, you do not want to be feeling like you're stuck in quicksand for the entire game for those extra 10 shots. With the 60 round magazine, the M4 seals super slow, but with the 50 round mags, you basically split the difference. It definitely is slower, but it's not as slow, if you know what I mean. So the 60 is the slowest and it doesn't feel very good to run around with, but the 50 doesn't feel as bad. Plus you get the extra rounds, which is really powerful. This is a fairly decent middle ground between racking up those kills and being the slowest person on Earth. You can definitely get away with the 60 round mags on the Grau, but you can't do it here basically. If you want to maintain a bit of mobility but also be able to go on those super long streaks, you'll definitely want the 50 round mags in this slot. So of course, in our last slot for this overpowered class, you've got two options as I said. In the rear grip slot, you can have the stipple grip tape, or in the ammo slot, you can have the 50 round mags. Right, so this is our full class setup with every attachment that we've chosen. This is one of my favorite class setups in this game. It's quite possibly the best, but it depends on who you ask, I suppose. I'm still not 100% sure which is better out of the M4 or the Grau 556, but I'm sure this is definitely one of the best classes in the game. If you've not put this class together yet, definitely go try it out. It just slaps. It's so powerful. I'll probably get that nuke soon. I've been pretty close recently. I've had a few more 20+ games. So hopefully I'm recording when it does happen, because you guys probably won't believe me. Like, I'll be like, yeah, I got a nuke, boys! And yeah, then I'll have no proof. If you did like this class and you do want to see more of my videos, make sure you do leave a like and do subscribe if you are new around here. I massively appreciate it, and it will definitely help me out. We are, of course, well on our way to 500 subscribers now, and if everybody who was subscribed just told one friend to subscribe, we'd basically already be at 1,000 subscribers, which would just be absolutely insane. So thank you very much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next video. Bye!